Carmen Veal got so frustrated raising her autistic child that she decided to form her own nonprofit to assist other parents of autistic children. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
I understand the whole, people see the pin on the show and say, what's the pin about? Autism awareness. I understand that. My son is autistic. But your story is very compelling.
Yes.
About, 7 years ago?
Yes.
Talk to us.
Well, my daughter is 8. She was diagnosed with autism.
Sanaya, right?
Sanaya Williams. She was diagnosed with autism around 4.5 years, but she was always developmentally delayed, just never labeled. So, yeah.
What age again she was diagnosed?
Diagnosed at 4.5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go through your mind as a parent, single mom, you hear that. First reaction?
Well, first reaction, I had never heard of it. I didn't know what autism was. So it kind of hit me hard because I was among 11 kids of my mom's and tons of grandchildren, the first to have a child with any type of disability. So that, number one, hit me hard. And then accepting, number one, finding out what it is and if we can fix it. That was my primary goal, and unfortunately that's what drove me for the following 2 years, trying to correct what was wrong, not knowing that there wasn't a cure initially. So
what did you find out? As you did your research, what did you find? Where were the stumbling blocks for you?
The stumbling blocks was the fact, well, number one, she's completely nonverbal. So finding out that there's a possibility that she'll never speak after doing research, that hit me first more than anything else. And then finding out that she may have to be on medication for the rest of her life. And she was on medication for about a month. And
for behavior issue? Because people are hearing, okay, so.
For behavior, because she had like a very short attention span, and that will cause her to run off, not pay attention in school. They wanted to put her on medication, try and help her calm down so she can actually grasp everything. But
now, how do you feel about that? When you hear about medication, did you feel at first it was a cop-out, or did you feel that?
Yes, absolutely. Because when they said medication, my number one question was, what are the side effects? And when you have side effects for a child that can't tell you something's wrong, that's a red flag. So I was very afraid to begin with. I tried to see what else existed outside of medication and early intervention, but because she was 4, it wasn't as prevalent as it would have been had she got it 3
In
years
hindsight,
before.
did that bother you, getting diagnosed at 4 years old? Were you upset with the system, yourself? 4 is a little bit late. What went through your mind at finding out?
I was upset more so with her pediatrician because if we were to go through my daughter's hospital records, she was in the hospital probably 3 to 4 times a week. And most of it was me going to the hospital because something's wrong. She was always sick. She has seizures really badly. One time she had a seizure for 45 minutes, and I'm like, something's wrong. It had to do some damage for someone to be having a seizure for 45 minutes that not one doctor or nurse can stop.
What kind of things were they telling you?
They were, of course, trying to tell me to keep calm, but yeah, right, not going to happen. They're telling me that they're trying to find a vein to put the medication in. And it's honestly now it's all a blur. I just remember seeing my child laying on the bed shaking.
Right.
And that's
and nothing was happening. It wasn't changing.
It wasn't, and that wasn't changing. So everything that they said to me, I just remember calm. I remember yelling, "Stop telling me to be calm." But that's all I remember. I don't remember anything else anybody said to me. I had to be taken out of the room because I honestly probably would have had some type of breakdown.
But you use this sort of frustration to say, let me help other people. So let's talk about the organization.
Right.
Hope for Autism. What are you hoping to do for this group?
Well, we are hoping to raise public awareness of autism within the community. And we are offering advocate services for health care and education for low-income families, providing many grants to these families who can't provide, certain services, or whether it's like some type of wheelchair or car seats for the children.
Because finances are a big issue, right? This can
Absolutely.
be very financially draining for parents first going through the process, trying to spend money on doctors and on interventions and different things. It's very draining for any family,
Absolutely, right? And more so because if they don't have the proper support system, they cannot work a stable job. And that was something I struggled with.
Double
for
whammy,
3
right?
years.
You need money for the kid, then you can't work and take care of the child.
Because she was sick so often, and I had to take her out of school half a day because they didn't really have the correct program in place for her. I couldn't commit to my full-time job. So I'm a single parent, living on my own, trying to buy food, the necessary essentials for the house, for her, for me.
Right.
It became, I had to move back in with a relative because I couldn't even afford it anymore.
So mental stress, talk about that, because that's a great deal of burden on anyone, right? A single mom in particular.
I think.
How do you deal with mental stress? How do you come through it? Are you through it?
I'm through it now, yes. I wasn't through it then because her condition controlled me.
You get obsessed with it, right?
Absolutely. I had no active life whatsoever. More so because I was ashamed.
Why were you ashamed?
Because my daughter was disabled. Because something was wrong with her that I couldn't fix.
You dreamed to shatter your dreams of your daughter being shattered. Of a healthy, happy Vietnam, you have to make a little adjustment.
Yes, all the things that I imagined would happen, when she was in my belly, in reality set that it probably never will, And the fact that she couldn't speak to me, it was just really hard because sometimes it would get so frustrating where, I remember breaking down at one point in the kitchen because she wanted something to drink, but she couldn't tell me, And I'm like, just tell me. And I remember literally shaking the jug, tell me, and I cried. I cried, I broke down, I had to leave out the kitchen. And it tore me up inside because then I had to go back and try to apologize to her, although she didn't understand, but she's a very affectionate child, so she knew when I gave her a hug and a kiss that it was okay. But it was tearing me up, and I noticed that it started to affect her because I was treating her, as if it was her fault, and it wasn't.
10 seconds. You have a big event coming up. 10 seconds. Tell us about it. Where, when, time, and cost, all the good stuff.
January 8th, the second Saturday of the month. It's at the Hartford Club. It's a fashion show and silent auction charity event. Come out for some free hors d'oeuvres. We have tons of sponsors on the silent auction. We have some great packages for you guys. Please come support us.
And the website is?
www.hope4autism.org.
All right, good job there. All right, thanks to all our guests, John Brubaker and Lori Giles and Carmen Veal. You can send your show comments or requests or even watch us again at ctnow.com and friend us on Facebook. Become a fan of the Stan Simpson Show. We're on Twitter, too. Look out for the tweets. Lori Perez and The Real Story are next for the good folks here at Fox, Connecticut. I'm Stan Simpson. See you next week.